Yo, welcome back to another episode of Courtside Chat. And excited to be back. Excited to be talking a little more hoops this week. Where we went, what we saw, some great matchups that we witnessed. But before we get into that, as you can see, we're in a different location today. Shout out to Shelby County Cave, caring about vision and expansion. That's our AAU organization. We just finished up our first tryout, 5th through 8th graders, and had a good little time. So we figured why not set up a basketball podcast and talk hoops in the gym. So hopefully the sound is okay for everybody. First of all, appreciate everybody for tuning in, for the support that you've shown. Some of the hate as well. It's all fuel to the fire. We definitely appreciate you. Got over 100 subscribers on YouTube, so shout out to everybody that subscribed. Instagram is going crazy by the day, putting content out on there multiple times a week, talking about big games that are coming up, talking about the games that we go to on Tuesday nights and on Friday nights, and also putting together little, I guess you'd call it, highlight videos for the teams that we're supporting here in Deep East Texas. So this week, man, we went Tuesday night. We got to go over to Nacogdoches, watch Nacogdoches and Lufkin, 5A basketball game. Friday night, last night, we got to go over to Tatum. Coach Carr, appreciate you for inviting us, for allowing us to come over there. Him and Coach Bradley. Got to watch Tatum and Jefferson. Pretty neat deal. After Friday night's game, Tatum was 3A, of course. We've gone to every classification in the state of Texas, 1A through 6A. So that's pretty dope, man. Exciting stuff. Just excited about what's going on. Yeah. Before we dive in to the games that I just mentioned, the ones that we went to this week, we first like to congratulate. Before I do that, I guess I'll welcome on my brother, my mentor, my co-host, Marlon Cloudy Jr.
Yo,
what's up, baby?
What's going on?
Hey, we live in person with it today.
Got me on the spot.
Here we go. All right, but back to what I was saying. Just congratulations to all the schools in Deep East Texas and Beast Texas that have clinched a playoff spot. And also shout out to all the district champs, the people that we cover: Brooklyn, Laneville, also St. Augustine, Hawkins, Douglas, and Beckville, Hooks, Mount Pleasant, Chapel Hill. Got to see Coach Smith last night. Shout out to you, Coach Smith. Sabine, they're playing some really good basketball up there. Excited to see what their playoff run is going to be like. Bullard, Silsby, Lufkin, who we'll get to later on, and Longview. And while we're at Longview, let's just stop there for a second. We talked about Longview a few weeks ago, how we thought that Longview was a pretty good basketball team, and they were being slept on. The following week, they jumped into the top 25. I think they actually jumped into the top 20. And you know how it works. You get in there, you get that target on your back. Tyler Haas saw that ranking. Tyler Haas said, hey, we're trying to get into the playoffs too. And they beat Longview that following week. One loss, and there they go. They kicked them out. And Longview said, okay, that's fine. They backdoored. They came back, and they won some huge basketball games in that district. So shout out to Longview. 2 huge wins this week. They went Tuesday and defeated Mount Pleasant at Mount Pleasant. And last night they got their revenge against Tyler High at home. And I went back and I watched some of that game against Mount Pleasant, specifically the end of it. And the first thing that jumped off to me, they were down 8 with under 4 to go in a hostile environment, and they never wavered, never folded. They just kept playing. And 2 young men, D.D. Williams and Holly Lee, were absolutely huge for the Lobos down the stretch. And this is my little, I know Harlan usually gives the nuggets to the young hoopers, the people who aspire to be college basketball players. I'm gonna start it off early in this episode and go ahead and give it to you guys right now. You young hoopers, you guys that want to play ball at the next level, go back and watch the end of that Longview and Mount Pleasant game and listen to the commentators and listen to the coach in his interview after the game and take away the notion to always stay ready. I previously mentioned Harley Lee. Now, Didi Williams is a starter. He's a stud. He's a big man that can do it all for Longview. But Harley Lee is a senior, and he hadn't touched the floor at all prior to the fourth quarter. He had not played. Foul trouble happened. His number gets called in the fourth quarter, and instead of him being over there on the sideline, moping and pouting, he was ready to go, and he delivered 2 huge threes in the biggest game of Longview's year. And that's what it's all about. So shout out to that young man. Shout out to the Lobos. Congratulations on the district championship, and we'll definitely be following them as they make their playoff push. Let's go ahead and jump into the game that we went to on Tuesday night, Lufkin and Nacogdoches. And I've taken all the time, so I'll go ahead and let you start it off, man. We went over there Tuesday, and what were your takeaways from that game Tuesday night?
Well, first of all, we're covering that game between Lufkin and Nat. That covered all classifications that we've seen games of this year. And I know we saw a 6A game a couple of weeks ago. Went up and watched Tyler Legacy play. The thing that I saw in Nacogdoches versus Lufkin was elite athleticism. And there was 4 or 5 guys between those 2 teams that every time they made a play, I was turning around asking somebody, does he run track? Does he play football? One of those young men, we'll talk about him a lot more here in a little bit, but signed and going up to play football at Michigan State. So that was the first thing that I noticed was just the athleticism between those guys playing above the rim. Being blessed to be able to coach college, see those athletes for 4 years. You forget. You forget what that's like when you don't see it all the time. But definitely the energy and rivalry between Lufkin and Nat, you felt that in the crowd. The crowd wasn't as big as I thought it might be with a game of that caliber. They're playing for first place in district. So I was expecting a few more people, but Lufkin brought some people over. Nacogdoches had a decent crowd in there, but you can still feel the excitement and the atmosphere was playoff caliber.
Do you think that crowd is a part of like the bigger schools? And I never knew this until Tuesday night. Small schools, I mean, we're always at the same place. Like we're playing 4 or 5, 17 games in one location. Found out Tuesday night that girls are at one place and boys at a different location. So I know the girls had a huge game going on as well for seeding implications. Is that probably?
Most definitely.
Part of the reason.
You split your fan bases when you play at opposite sites like that. And I get it. At bigger schools, you do that at 5, especially 6A level. But it's kind of like our small schools right now. We're going into the playoff run, and districts are changing games Tuesdays to Mondays, and playoff games being held on Mondays instead of Tuesdays, so that smaller schools, towns like Center, Timpson, Tenahawk, they can support both programs. You got siblings, you got cousins, you got best friends, and you want to be there and support. So hats off to small schools, and especially ones in the area that do that. Think about the experience of the student athlete.
Yeah,
that's what. If we're in this business of coaching and education, number one thing I always ask is, what does that do to the student? How is the student affected? And if we're in this to give them the best experience possible, we got to make sure that we're fixing our schedules to where people can support them.
That's what I thought about. Saying, what if I'm a parent and I have a boy on the varsity boys team, and I have a girl on JV or varsity girls team? Like, man, how do you figure that out? What do you put people in mind? So, shout out to small schools for taking care of that and taking care of not only their student athletes but their parents and their fans as well. As you can see, Nacogdoches ended up on the short end of the stick Tuesday night. Lufkin defeated them 55-46. Huge congratulations to the Panthers. Coach McManus is third district championship in a row. I made a tweet about this. It's hard to win. It's hard to win one district championship, let alone back-to-back, let alone back-to-back-to-back. So, Coach JT McManus, Lufkin Panthers, congratulations. They'll be going in as the 1 seed, represent this tough district. And we'll definitely, Cloudy Courtside Chat will definitely be following the Lufkin Panthers and their journey.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of coaching against Coach McManus. I call him Coach Mac, me personally. And he's always been upstanding. He's always tough. Lufkin is a football school. They have a deep football tradition. But they do play basketball over there in Lufkin too. The thing about playing against his teams is you always do them going to be well coached. They're going to be physical. And going to Lufkin, you wasn't going to get no calls.
Speaking of no calls, that's how he felt on Tuesday, man. We looked over there a couple times. Hey, coach is ready to ring somebody's neck, man.
Right.
Speaking of tough and physical, two guys that are on the screen right now, Austin Brown on the left, he had his hands full on Tuesday night, if we're being honest. Because he talked about the Brown from Nacogdoches, Jalen Brown, and he was guarding Austin Brown all night. And rightfully so. Everybody knows Austin, and he can flat out go. One of the top prospects in the 2026 class. And he showed it Tuesday night. Even though Jalen was in his shirt most of the night, he didn't let that get to him. He didn't get flustered. He still ended the night with some huge numbers, and he made some big baskets down the stretch to lead this Lufkin Panther team to a huge victory. Big time.
Yeah, that Brown matchup was something special. Brown versus Brown. It was funny to watch because I was like, yeah, Brown did this. And was like, which Brown?
White
Brown. But Brown, his composure. That's one thing that I saw about Austin Brown was he held himself together because a lot of players, especially high school, they get frustrated when the shot's not falling. He didn't shoot it well from the floor, but he kept being aggressive. He kept attacking. He stayed involved in the game, and he got to the free throw line down the stretch, which helped them keep that lead and close out that game. Which he didn't miss from the free throw. That's one thing. Mr. Austin Brown, he was clutch from the free throw line, stepped up there, stroked it with confidence, although he was struggling from the field. And on the flip side, with Jalen Brown, what he did, and going both ways, this day and age basketball player, you don't see that two-way play. And it's almost like playing hard is a skill now. A player that can be a dog and go both ways is now an asset in the field. And Jalen, I loved it from the tip. He was in Austin Brown's jersey. And not only was he worried about offense production or focusing on offense, but he was getting after it on defense too. So the fact that he was going both ways at a high level against a high caliber player, man, Michigan State got them a good recovery.
What can Brown do for you? Both of them, and they played extraordinary basketball. But the X factor of the night, as good as both Browns were, and as superb as Austin's game is, the X factor for Lufkin on Tuesday night was definitely Marcellus Parks, number 10 on the right. This man, he took over the game on both ends. Steals, deflections, block shots, contested shots, and then on the offensive end, I didn't know he had a bag like that. Highlight, you can go on Instagram and see it. On Instagram, at the bottom of the page down there. He had a wicked spin move a couple of times. He got some bounce in him as well, and he hit some big time threes. So he's a three-level scorer, and he flat out carried Lufkin to that district championship on Tuesday night.
So if you want to have a deep run and you want to be special as a team, you've got to have that one player that I don't care what it looked like, I don't care how the night is going, I'm going to impact the game. Whether it be rebounding, defending, putbacks, threes, like you've got to have somebody like that. And that's what Coach McManus has in this young man out of Lufkin. They've got a chance to hopefully win a couple of games. What's a little bit harder at that 5A level. But with what they have in a weak year school, athleticism across the board, you got great coaching. This team, he's the piece. He Mark's the piece, and he can be the difference maker for them going one and done in the playoffs, or having to run and a chance to make it to the regional tournament with some big wins. So, I was definitely impressed with. He just it don't care what it looked like. It matters. I'm just going out here. I'm about. I'm gonna go out here and do whatever it takes for my team and bring that energy. So shout out to Mr. Parks. Shout out to the entire Lufkin team. Shout out to Nacogdoches. They have a good team, and they're not second place in that district by accident. Those guys, they love the game of basketball. They are very senior heavy. That's one thing. They've got experience. So I'll be curious to see what Nacogdoches does.